Hello everyone. In this video we're going to talk about operators, right? This is nothing new for you. Operators are like special symbols that we are representing into action or computation, like multiplication, division, or addition. Yeah, they are basic arithmetic operations. Um, let's create Python file, right? Operators. Um, So let's try some basic operators like let's try with addition, right? Just print the values of those. Um Multiplication and division. Division is just like a slash here in Python. Um or this division, okay, but this one is discarding the fractional part, right? And this one is the reminder, right? This might look like why not this? Why this is not the division? Well, yeah, this is just the reminder. And oh, oopsie, the oops, I don't know, the square, right? Okay, so basically it's like oops. Basically, this is the square. This is the reminder of the division. Um, this is addition, multiplication, division, division. But this one discarding the fractional part. That's it. Let's run that. Right. So we have the results here. Right. As you can see, this is this is this is very this is very simple and very interesting. You can assign variables. You can assign values to this variable, like number one equals to 5 or number two equals 3, right? And here you can replace uh, you can replace this number with the variable, right? Sweet. um and the same here. I will just run, right? Sweet. We can use we can use these operators with strings, right? It's not just with numbers or like floating points, right? We can use it for strings, right? For example, let's create a variable, right? Call it like uh planet, oops, planet Mars, right? You can just print planet times 5. Ooh, okay. This is the variable. Uh, the variable. So like as you can see here, like this is I put this is like number character here, and like everything here is in gray. This is like I'm like these are like comments, you know, and this part the Python ignore everything you have like the after this character. I will talk I will talk more about that later. It's just this is just for you to see the difference. Um, this is they will put like planet times 5, right? Mars, 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 Mars. Right. Um, this we can just do that. So like print planet plus right to Mars. Right. Oh, sweet. Uh, this is but but if you try to do this, uh, for example, like string str num, right, at number 5, right. If you try to to if you try to do this, for example, like let's print str num plus 10, right. Um, where are we? Oops. You see that we have an error here, right? Because we can only concatenate a string, not int, right? And this is a string, and we're trying to like concatenate like with a number. This is not possible because as I said before, this is a integer, right? In order to do that, we can just we can convert this value or assign it in a different way, right? Okay, now let's talk about comparison operators, right? Right. This type of operator is very important, and you'll use it a lot, and you're going to see that later, right? As the name implies, the comparison operator basically compare values and return true or false, right? I will put you a table of like a little table of like the these comparison operators, right? But this table, right? Keep in mind that when we're using the comparators, greater or less than or equals goes after these symbols, right? These symbols are different and they have to be used in this form. Also, be careful with the equal operator. It could be tempted to put like a single, right? Like here, a single, like equal. But remember that we use the single equal to assign values or create variables, right? So to represent that, we use double equals, right? Um, this is let's put some examples here. Let's create some examples here. Let's run some examples. So here we have two variables with different values, right? Let's try number one. Let me see. Print number one. Number one value. It's let's say strictly less than number two, right? Let's run that. False, as you can see here. Why? Because number one is not strictly less than number two, right? This is false, right? Now let's try with number one. It's less and equal than number two, right? False, because still, like, it's not less. It's not number one. It's not less or equal to number two, right? It's not less or equal to number two. If we flip it, if we put like number two here, it will return true here because number 2 it's less or it's less or equal to number 1, right? Just for you to see. Now let's try with greater. Like number 1 is greater than number 2, right? It will return true because number 1 definitely is greater than number 2, and the same here. We can just number 1 is greater or equal to number 2. It will return true, right? Because it's greater or equal to number 2. If we change the value here, like 5, it will return 2 because even though it's not greater, but it's equal to number to number to number 1, right? Let's change that to 3. Right. Now let's try with oops. Let's try with equal. As I said before, keep keep in mind in order to compare two values, we have to use double, no like one, because remember, like we use the one for like creating values. Okay, two. Number 1 is equal to number 2. False, definitely, right? It's not equal. It's not equal at all. Okay. And different. Uh, yeah. Different. We have to put the exclamation mark, right? And not equal. That's how you say like not equal. It's not equal, right? And true because they are not equal. They are like different. They have like different value. That's why like it returns true, right? Um. Now let's talk about like logical operators, right? There are three types of logical operators. I will put a little table there. They're like and, or, and not. In other programming language, they're like represented in a different way. For example, like some language they use double vertical bars to represent or, just like that, or etc. Or and for n they use like this one, like double like this ones, right? Right. But in Python we use this logical operator like they are representing English, just like that, or and and not. But we can still like use some of these character representations like that. But right, for example, this one these operators they well to understand more about this operator, like let's see let's see, like we have like number 1 and number 2, right? Up, if not uh, tens equals to number 1, right? Spring. If number 1 is not equal to the value 10, then print me, right? Something else here. Um, print up if number 1 is equals to the value 10, then print me. These are like conditional, like if else, right? I will talk more about that later in the next videos. I just wanted you to see the difference in this one. In this one, I'm using conditional. Okay. In this example, I'm basically saying in English, if 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 the value 10 is not equals to the number 1, then do this. Else it will say like, if not, then print me. Right? Let's run this. Right? Okay. As you can see here, their number 1 is not equal to number 10. That's why it printed like this print statement here. If we change the value to number 10, you will see that it just executed this one, right? That's how you can like use the logical operators. You can use it in a different way, but I just wanted you to see a real sample with this one. In the next videos, we're going to talk about that more, but which is basically like that's how they use. Um, and we can mix. This is the beauty of like programming. We can mix these operators in a statement as we desire. Um for example like if number 1 is greater than 10, or number 2 is equal to then to 10, you can say let me see, two values compare, right? If I assign this to the value 9, and else we can just do this, print one value compared. Good. um let's as I told you, like you can use and, or, and not. In this one you can just mix them. Okay, let's run this, right? Okay, this prints one value compare. Why? Let me explain you this. Basically, I'm saying here, if the number 1 is greater than 10, you have they will bring two values compared. Or the number 1 or the number 2 is equal to 10, sorry, equal to 10, they will evaluate this one or this one. If any of these ones like is true, it will return this one. For example, like number 1 is not greater than 10, right? It's just 5. But let's change number 2, right? Let's put like number 2 is equals to 10, right? Now it should print two values compared, right? Here, as you can see here, it printed the two values compared, because like this is not true. This is not true. Number 1 is not greater than 10, right? It's just 5. It's not greater. But number 2 is equal to 10, right? This they the program like compare these ones and then compare this one. It just basically means, hey, if this number is greater than this, bring this. Or if this number 2, is equal to this, then bring this, right? If they don't like, if they're not true, if they don't execute it, then bring this one, right? That's how it works. Like this is just uh this is just like how you can mix this, and this is like very powerful, and you can do lots of stuff with this. Um, I will explain more about conditionals in the next videos. I just wanted you to see area sample with OR, right? And like the logical comparison values, right? I hope you don't get confused with this, but in the next videos I will explain more. Than this is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.